Shalom, everyone. First, we'll talk about the specific understanding and manner in which to read the Shema, and then we'll hopefully get to the next paragraph, which talks about our physical state and stuff that is related to that. So, a person must recite Shema with great kavanah, fear, awe, and trembling, and contemplate in his heart that he is now proclaiming the sovereignty of the King, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Melech Malchim, King of all things. And when we say the word fear in English, it can mean different things. That's why the more proper word is awe. So we are not afraid that Hashem will strike us with a bolt of lightning, like so many other religions mistakenly believe, but rather that we don't want to do things that are disrespectful, just like we wouldn't do things to our parent who loves us, and then we also don't want to do things against Hashem, and that's why this doesn't mean that I'm afraid that God will punish me by any way, but just that that I know that I have this proper respect, which is a little bit more than respect, by this and that's how we concentrate even better. Even though the Shema is recited every day in Shacharit and Ma'ariv, so twice a day, one must try hard to concentrate on the meaning of the words as if they were new to him. So that's something that's just in general, that even if we repeat something all the time, and we talked about that a little bit before, about how Rabbi Ami used to thank his back and his knees for bowing and bending at the right times during davening. And we are supposed to try to have a renewed feeling and a renewed understanding every single day as much as possible. In addition to kavanah, which is the intent, the person saying the Shema must pronounce the letters precisely, being careful not to swallow any letter, nor to emphasize the soft sound or weaken the strong ones. Therefore, the lechatchila, one should make a distinction in sound when pronouncing an aleph and an ayin, a chet and a chaf, a kamatz and a patach, a tzera and a segol. And unfortunately, because today we lost so much of that, we just do our best. The Chachamim say one who recites Shema and is careful to pronounce its letters exactly, Gehinom is cooled down for him. So even if somebody has to, God forbid, go to the other place instead of Garden of Eden, then it's cooled down if they pronounce the letters exactly. But that's not the reason to do the mitzvah properly, but rather just another enticement and encouragement. The Eved, if he did not recite the Shema meticulously, he nevertheless fulfilled his obligation, provided that he did not miss a word or a full syllable of a word. So in many Sidurim, and I don't know if you have that in your Siddur, there's either a line or a break between words that end with the same letter that the next word begins. So V'limadtem, not so much with the same exact letter, but rather that it might sound like the word for met. So if I say it without making a distinction, it sounds as if I'm saying, and you should bound the dead, or that you should teach the dead, and that's not appropriate. So that's why a lot of Sidurim basically make that break. But also Matar Yoreo Malkosh, and other times that there's letters that sound similar or that could be swallowed. In principle, though it is proper to recite Shema and the Amidah in Hebrew, if a person recited Shema and prayed the Amidah in a different language, he fulfilled his obligation, provided that he understands that language, which we already talked about in chapter 1. However, a few of the major Achronim write that today we cannot fulfill the obligation of Kriyat Shema by reciting it in a different language, because there are words that we do not know how to translate accurately, and so we're going to use English because that's the language that we know. For example, the Hebrew word beshinantam means both learning, shinun, which means repetition, like the word mishnah, and sharpening, which is it's called chidud in other words, but and also the word shinantam reminds us of the teeth and other ways to translate. Maybe that's not the best example, but even the word Eloheinu, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. So Hashem, our God, is one. That's the simplest way to understand it, but Eloheinu itself is written in the plural in Hebrew. So when Moses wrote it in Parshat Bet Hanan that way, there had to be a reason why he wrote in Elohim as opposed to the singular of Adonai or something else that would, or even Eloha. In the Hallel, we just said Eloha Yaakov, and for some strange reason, there's a mapik in the Hey, like a degesh. Yaakov is masculine, so I don't understand what that's doing there, but the Art Scroll translates that as just God of Jacob. So that's about the words and about our intention and about the spiritual understanding of the words. And then we'll go to the next paragraph, which talks about our physical state. So as an introduction, we'll say that we mentioned a few times before that if somebody, their boss allows them to pray while they're working, and they're allowed to say the Shema even standing on a branch, because they don't have to concentrate the fear of falling. But the Amida, we said that you have to be standing, you have to come off the ladder or off the tree or off the scaffolding, whatever you're standing on, in order to be able to concentrate properly. But since we are talking about the Shema, so he starts with that introduction, which is from the Gemara in Brachos. It is permissible to recite Shema while standing, sitting, or lying down on one side. Indeed, according to Beit Shammai, one must recite the Shema of the evening while lying down and the Shema of the morning while standing. Of course, we don't pass them like that. We always, except for 6 cases, go by, or a little bit more maybe, by Beit Hillel. But they say when you lie down and when you rise up, so they take that literally. Yet the halacha follows Beit Hillel, who interpreted the verse to mean the times that one is required to recite Shema, which is when people lie down to go to sleep in the evening and rise, which is to wake up in the morning. According to Beit Hillel, whether the person stands, sits, or lies down is optional, and that's also how we decide in Shulchan Aruch. One last note about that. I think it was Rabbi Tarfon, but I'm not 100% sure. He said that he went, that he lied down like Beit Shammai said, and he was on the way, so he was traveling on a road or on a highway, and he was almost killed by robbers who were running away, and they told him, you deserve that because you didn't listen to Beit Hillel, you listened to Beit Shammai, who say that you have to be lying down. And of course, that's not how we do it. And there's also other stories about the way that the rabbis tried to concentrate, but they endangered their life because of it. For example, not saying hello or answering hello to a important Roman official, or going into a ruins, which is dangerous because there's demons there or other wild things. And so with all of that, we just pass in according to Beit Hillel, which is that you are allowed to sit, lie, or stand, and it's all okay as long as you can concentrate. We can learn from this halacha that faith is not something detached from this world, something that can only be achieved under specific circumstances. Rather, faith expressed in saying the Shema encompasses all of one person's life in this world, and therefore it is permissible and possible to recite the Shema in any position. Again, as long as you concentrate better. In principle, it is permissible to recite Shema even while walking, as it says, when you are walking on your way, belachtecha b'derech. However, the Chachamim maintain that it is not proper for a person to accept upon himself the yoke of heaven casually, so that's why we should stop wherever we are and say it. Therefore, one who is walking should stand still when he recites the first verse of the Shema, and to put it into more practical use today, when you are on a train or in a car or on a plane, you don't have to stop and stand up, but rather just not continue walking, which is not going to happen. So if you did stop the car, you don't get out and start walking around while saying the Shema, because that's disrespectful. It is also forbidden to say Shema while lying on one's stomach or back, since this is not a respectful recital. And as far as I know, this only applies to men because of the laws of men going to sleep, which is in very much detail in Even Ezer and in the Mishnah Berurah. Even though Mishnah Berurah was about Orach Chaim, it's talking about something that looks like it might not be respectful to heaven because of um, the specific sexual connotation of it. Because of the importance of the first paragraph in which we accept upon ourselves the yoke of heaven, a person must be careful while saying it not to occupy himself with anything else and not signal with his eyes, fingers, or lips. And of course, if you see your son or daughter doing something that they're not supposed to, you're allowed to say something like "nu" or wave your finger at them, but maybe pause in the middle of the verse in order to do that, because that way you don't lose the concentration that is necessary. So we'll stop here.